that everybody else now, a lot of people are just now starting to try to go do. They're just buying their first soft switch. They're just now externalizing their applications, figuring out, do I be open or not? We've already have experience with that. The one chart I was going to show you today is this one. And we talked really about the purpose of this particular panel, which is really the challenges and uncertain times in telecom. One thing that Network IP did was, originally, we were focused down there in the bottom right-hand corner, voice. So we did things on opening up voice, offering voice services, have APIs that everybody from an enterprise for doing a CPP-based solution all the way down to a web developer can use to go develop applications adding voice. But what we realized is, as we created this evolution of our technology, that we actually had other core competencies that we developed. And if you go around that ring, is everything from the e-commerce was kind of second. Here, I'm going to cheat.
You'll pay for it later.
Yeah, so we went to web on the bottom left corner for e-commerce. We really, from the very beginning of this thing, made everything on the web. Everything, all our applications, all of our services, provisioning, billing, everything we did from the very beginning with Network IP has to be pushed to the web. There's no other external interfaces. It's all pushed through the web. And then create all the APIs so that can even be externalized out to purchasing transactions or whatever you want to do over the web. We then turned and have focused on POS. We're actually connected to we realized here literally about a year ago, we're connected to over 500,000 retail locations through the applications we have today on us. When you start thinking about that, one of the solutions that we're going to be announcing here soon for one of the large wireless companies, wireless handset providers, back to your Apple example, the other wireless companies haven't gone unnoticed. They haven't noticed what Apple's done. And from what Network IP now is, we're now at the center of that universe for that wireless company, because they now are connected to 500,000 retail locations to sell their version of an iTunes card or a content card. So that has no voice in it. That's purely our transaction engine. And then if you go all the way out to the last one here on mobile services, we found that our connections out there, our transaction database that we have over 800 million end users in today, that we process over 700,000 API transactions a day, over 15 million queries to our databases. I mean, the sheer volume of what we're driving through today, companies are looking for that. Not just for voice, they're looking for the ability that I want to go offer a transaction service out there, and I want to do it on an account that's funded in multiple ways, but I want to be able to do that and on a reliable, proven system. And so that's something really that Network IP has been able to leverage as far as one of our core competencies, that if you'd asked me a year ago if that was important, I would have said, oh, maybe, but we've been proving that it is important, and it is a way to kind of diversify ourselves even further. So with that, I think what Network IP has done in this model, or we're really trying to help ourselves in uncertain times, is that we've started with a clear vision in the beginning. We've stayed to that vision, we've reinvented, and we've given ourselves an experience and track record that we're a proven solution today, 10 years later, where a lot of other companies are just now raising their flag up. So with that, here, I'll get back to you. You can.
Yeah, let's see.
You can leave it up the whole time if you want.
Yeah, I had a feeling you'd say that. Well, I'm not going to do this here. I'm going to wait for tech support to come to my rescue. We do have, by the way, I don't know whether it made it into the program, we do have a speaker substitution from Digicel. Mario Rojas, who's the head of carrier relations, is going to speak. So I wanted to make sure if you're taking notes and need his name to get his card, this is Mario, not the person in your program.
Good morning, everyone. I have come in representation of Digicel, and unfortunately Julio Alvarez wasn't able to make it to the forum. For those who don't know us, Digicel is the fastest growing mobile network in the Caribbean and recently entering the Central American market. We're also deploying some networks and trying to acquire some licenses in the South Pacific. Our experience has been, or rather our strategy has been, to enter the markets most aggressively and brand ourselves as the biggest and the best. The experience has been quite amazing in terms of what you would have expected from these very small countries with a low acquisitive power. In the case of Jamaica, we managed to obtain over 50% market share from the 60-year-old incumbent, in a matter of months. In a matter of a year and a half in the case. In Haiti, it sort of happened in the same way. Within 6 months, there were 1 million subscribers compared to the competition, which had 300,000. So with that said, our experience or the strategy that we're forming is just to keep on being as aggressive as we have. Relevant to this forum, I'm looking forward to contributing what has been our customer experience with the end subscriber. In terms of applications, the company has been growing so fast that it becomes clear that the applications should have been outsourced rather than expecting to be grown organically. That is what we're moving on to as of right now. That's basically all the introduction that I have for Digicel.
Okay, Don, you are up.
Thanks, Gary. Good morning. I'd just like to thank Shrihari and Stealth for the opportunity here at the next few days. It looks to be a great event as usual. I'm from XO Communications. Just a bit of background on XO Communications. We're a facilities-based CLEC here in the U.S., $1.4 billion annually. XO is comprised of 3 operating units. Our business services group, which focuses on very small all the way up to enterprise retail customers, commercial customers. The carrier services group, which is the group that I'm associated with. And then inside of XO, we have what I'll call a startup, what we call NextLink, a branded opportunity, a branded business unit that focuses on using our LMDS spectrum, our fixed wireless assets that we have throughout the U.S. XO's been in business for 11 years, significant investment in assets and can focus on being a facilities-based carrier. 75 U.S. markets, and again, grew up with a focus on small, medium business, and then over time evolved into providing wholesale services, most notably in the last 4 years. With that challenge of operating a single network that focuses on 2 distinct lines of business, it certainly has presented opportunities and as well challenges. Right now, it's become very valuable just basically watching the needs of small and medium businesses, which obviously is a significant driver for growth. But then equally, it presents challenges with regard to the wholesale component, which Gary outlined several challenges to future business models where typical customers aren't used to owning networks. They now own content and applications and want to use networks. And most notably, we've seen our growth in just 3 basic components. Bandwidth, that is wavelength services ranging from 2.5 and 10 gig, as well as metropolitan access, again, TDM and Ethernet, and then finally high-speed internet transit. As more and more growth continues to push up bandwidth demand, both from a wavelength perspective for point-to-point connectivity, but as well gaining access to more and more subscribers and more of the internet. That's been a lot of the growth on our carrier side. I would frame just the opportunities that I see. Certainly one of the things we focus a lot about on the carrier side is the business model change. But I think it's important as we continue to look at that, although we've seen great growth and we are seeing great revenue growth, it's important to always pause, as has been said already several times this morning, to think about 3 important lenses. One, I think is the most important, is the regulation and the competitive environment. Certainly there are some regulation that needs to be sorted out and provide some certainty. With certainty comes investment typically. Clearly right now our investments today are in bandwidth, most notably DWDM, IP, which is infrastructure, again enabled by DWDM, but routers and switches as well. And then finally, our third investment is in the area of Ethernet, most specifically in the metropolitan area. So how do you take a metropolitan network that spans 75 markets with significant SONET infrastructure, and how do you evolve that over time into a more relevant, if you will, and capable service, namely enabled by Ethernet?